of the Council of Governments, Salem-Keizer Area Transportation Study Policy Committee to order. Welcome. Thank you for being here. I guess, do we have anybody new today? I don't know. I see some newer faces, but maybe.
Let's.
Okay.
We will have a new representative for the city of Salem.
Oh, we will?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Mai Vang,
Okay.
City Councilor Vang, so, and Paul Tigan will be the alternate.
Okay.
And then you met last month, Belle Fuller.
And are we expecting anyone else to join us online? Should I give it a minute or?
Anna's here. I don't think so.
All right.
Very good.
Well then, our first agenda item is the approval of the policy committee minutes from August 26, 2025.
Madam Chair, I'll move the amendments from our policy committee meeting on August 26, 2025.
Thank you.
Second.
Cameron, thank you. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Okay. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Okay. The motion passes unanimously. And now we have the next item on our agenda is public comment. Do we have any members of the public here or online who are here with the intention of providing comment to the policy committee? I guess not. Take it from Ray. Okay, then it appears that we can move on to item D, which is the congestion management process yearly report.
Okay, and before I do that, I want to point out one item that was thrown into your agenda package, which is Appendix D from the long range plan, because we have some questions last time about acronyms and all these wonderful buzzwords we use in transportation. And since a lot of you are new to all these wonderful words, decided to send this out to you guys. We'll have a common frame of reference for all the words that we use. So I can just say P-head, HUCD, ADD, all this, and you all will have that. You'll know what I'm talking about. For us, maybe reference in this. So that's why that's in the packet. And now, in the lilac agenda bit, we have the congestion management process report, CMP, another of your new acronyms. So, boot up our little PowerPoint. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you about a little introduction to the congestion management process. So a good fraction of you haven't before. An overview of the corridor reports that we produce yearly, and then we do a deep dive into what has happened since COVID, essentially, and that's what's covered in this report, and then some next steps. So the congestion management process, CMP, is required for all metropolitan areas over 200,000 in population. SKATS has had one since 2003. It's a document that we identify corridors of interest where there's vehicular congestion, and then we discuss in that document, how we're going to measure this congestion, which has changed over time due to data availability, and the strategies that the local jurisdictions are using to address this, whether it's more transit, bottleneck removal, or building sidewalks and bike lanes to allow people to safely walk through places. Then we also will have a section in the CMP about evaluating the effectiveness of these strategies. We last adopted this in 2022, and you'll see a revised version later this year or early next year for adoption, because this is on a 4-year cycle. One item that we identified in the CMP is to have these corridor reports produced yearly that discuss what's going on. on the corridors of interest. So we have 14 corridors that we gather data from. The data is collected from Index, which is a third-party vendor, GPS timestamps from vehicles that are traveling on the corridor, whether they're your vehicle with your cell phone or a fleet vehicle with some sort of navigation system. All that data, billions of data points across the country, are taken up and processed by RIDIS, which is a lab at the University of Maryland. They do this for DOTs and MPOs across the country. We have access to this data and this resource from the generosity of ODOT. So thank you, ODOT. And our data covers from 2016 to now. And I believe ODOT has a couple more years on this current purchase order subscription. In the reports, we have each corridor, and each corridor has two directions, so we break it down to the directions, north, south, east, west, whatever. For each of the directions for the years, we have top bottlenecks of the year. We have where it is and the duration and the extent. We have a couple of measures of congestion that we'll talk about later, the travel time index and the planning time index. We have a list of the projects on the corridor, those that have been completed recently, those that are in the long range plan, funded in the next 20 years, or those even that are illustrative. And then finally, there's a section in the corridor reports about the strategies that are in place, the corridor wide or specific to a region. One example of what's in the report, we have bottlenecks. So this is for the top bottleneck on the Wallace-Marion corridor westbound in 2023. So this is starting at Summer Street, going west on Marion, across the river, up Wallace to Dokes Ferry. This happens to be, I believe, at Taggart. And so you can see this is the entire year from January to December, 24 hours. And you see between 3 and 6 all year, there's some sort of congestion. So if you look at the document, I don't think you can really see it from the screen, but those greenish type colored lines have a length, and that's how long the congestion has been identified during that time period. And the color, you can tell there's a scale on the bottom. The green means that the congestion has been identified being 2 miles, under 2 miles. And so if we had a better scale, we could say, oh, it's a half mile, a mile, whatever. The longer congestion, then we could see different colors, but.
You know what Wilsonville looks like.
Yeah. You can look at that after the meeting if you're interested. So that's in the congestion management report, or the corridor reports that are available online, and there's a link in your document, and there's one at the end of this. So starting last year, we started doing a deeper dive into what happened between COVID 2020 or 2019 pre-COVID and post-COVID. And we're using travel time index and planning time index to look at these changes. First one is travel time index, which is a measure of vehicle congestion. And it's simply the time it takes to travel on a segment or a corridor divided by the time it takes to cover that same segment in free flow. So 2 in the morning or whenever. And if it's 1, then it's free flow. If it's greater than 1, then there's some amount of congestion on there. And if it's less than 1, we need to have more enforcement because people are speeding, and we don't want that. So we're using these categorizations of travel time index from ODOT. They're 4 freeways. We're using them for arterials just because I haven't found a better categorization yet. So to give us an idea anyway. And so for 2023, we started looking at midday as well as AM, PM because of COVID and changes in how people travel, and we wanted to see if there were changes. And so the top bars for everyone in the cheap seats are 2024. The middle bars, top bars are PM. Midday is in the middle and AM is in the bottom. And then the 3 bars are 2024, 2023, 2019 for each of those groupings. And you can see that between 2019 and 2023, there's a reduction in moderate congestion along the corridors in the PM and then the midday and the AM as well. And that for the midday that there's a little bit of bounce back in congestion in the midday. PM hasn't seen that yet. And this, keep in mind, this is through December of 2020.
So.
Yeah.
I mean, sure. So when you look at 2019, that was pre-COVID.
That's pre-COVID.
So a lot more traffic, a lot more congestion.
A lot more congestion.
It hasn't bounced back yet.
It hasn't bounced back in those time periods that we're
Right.
looking at. So there's,
Interesting.
yeah,
You had a reflection on the economy too.
People aren't going to the office.
Oh, that's
people
right.
aren't going to the office. Things have changed, and if you're working from home, you're more like, you might be, this is why we include midday, you might be going out to do your errands during the midday, or at least get lunch. Kids are still going to school outside the time periods roughly of the peaks.
Yep.
So they might be in the morning peak, which is 7 to 8, definitely not in the 5 to 6. School's usually done by 5 o'clock, right? They might be going to events. Midday is 11 to 1:30, so a little bit longer time span to look at times. What I haven't done is like an hour by hour look, which would be interesting, but probably tedious.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
How is this data collected?
So this is
from
the-
cameras
Oh,
or?
no, this is from the INRIX. This is all devices in the vehicles or the GPS. Yeah, your phones. You have a navigation system in your car, so all that goes up to either the vendors or the manufacturers are collecting the data and then selling it to INRIX, who then processes it, or INRIX is collecting it from, you have an app that they use. So there are multiple ways of getting
So
it.
what if somebody has their phone and their car? How do you differentiate that? It could be two.
I think
in one
it,
car and
I
then.
think that gets into the big data where it doesn't matter to, I mean, after we're getting enough data that it's going to be the same. So
Sample.
it's sampling it, and so I don't recall what the sample size, but it's over 10% and under 50%, I think, but I'm going to have to go look for that.
It just seems to me like if they are using your phone and there's multiple people in the car, you're gonna get multiple points of data. Plus if the car, so I mean, potentially there could be 3 or 4 points for that one viewer.
Right. So on I-5, that probably won't matter, but on around roads, that probably would matter. So it's one of those, and the corridors we're looking at are more the higher volume roads. Granted, noted, we'll see, we'll never be able to prove this one way or another because it's all anonymized, so we don't have any.
I'm sure that they've thought about this
Yeah.
at.
I'm sure there's a white paper out there that explains all this.
Like taking a poll. 3 or 4%, one way or the other.
Yeah. So that's. Any other questions on data collection and
It
then,
just seems to me like, yeah, traffic cameras, and why could that be pulled from that?
well, the traffic cameras are giving us the volume. So we get counts on those from selected intersections. So we only have, remember? No, 50 some intersections in Salem that have cameras that are collecting counts. We have more cameras out there that are doing presence. And so that's for signal operations. So, there's a lot of traffic, change the timing.
The cameras can't tell us
Got it.
time between A
They
and
can't,
B.
right, well, they can't tell us travel time over the district. This is nationwide, and so it's all roads, and it's a lot better than it used to be. We had somebody drive in a car with a GPS collector.
Somebody parked count, I mean, because they still do traffic count for.
They do traffic counts.
Specific, intersections.
Yeah, we used to do that. We used to have sent staff with a GPS receiver and we would take quarter times and map and things.
Which on some of the corridors that we do because we had to do it that way. Okay. So, no, I mean, it's more is better. Planning time index is the second measure we're using. This is a measure of reliability. So this is the extra time that you're going to add to your trip to ensure that you get to your destination on time. So it's on top of the planning time. The TTI and the planning time index and the travel time index are related. I'm not going to explain how. If you'd like to Google it, it's a nice read. It's only got a little bit of math, and I'm told not to use math in these presentations too much. So the PTI again is a index. So 1 is free flow, 1.5 means there's in this case it's moderately unreliable. Again, we're using ODOT's categorization. So under 1.33 is considered reliable. For planning time index, there's, in 2019 in PM, there was a lot of, there was more highly unreliable travel. So if you look at the document in one of the tables, 5, you can see the maximum planning time index for the morning, midday, and evening for the 3 years. And you see that 2.93 was the maximum value. I'll let you guess where that was. And it's come down considerably.
The bridge.
Old story. So it's come down considerably since then in 23 and 24. We haven't seen any bounce back to worse numbers. So there's an increase in moderately unreliable from 2023, but it hasn't got, as of 2024, it has not returned to the values that we were seeing pre-COVID.
Julie, wasn't there some engineering right around 19 that they did some traffic flow stuff around the bridge too? I remember
We did a congestion relief study task force, but they're really.
Nothing came out of that.
Nothing significant, no. The significant things would have cost too much money.
So there's basically, well, the end point is still have congestion. I think everyone notices that. It's reduced from pre-COVID. There has been, what we're seeing is a little bit, reliability is better now than it was 5 years ago. The values are slightly higher than they were in 2023. We'll see what happens in 2025. Some of the initial, I looked at some of the initial data, and so it's a little bit higher, but I prefer to wait until the end of the year to get entire year's data. I also threw in I-5. It's still, TTI is less than 1, so people are speeding, but we're seeing a slight increase in reliability is still good. Congestion management page, I believe there's a link in your packet. If you want to go see and if you have a specific corridor of interest that you want to go look at. This also has a map that shows you other features on the corridor, whether that's transit, whether it has signals, whether you can also see what the land use is to get an idea of why congestion might be occurring along your feeder pool. As I mentioned, the CMP will update it next year. We've started work. We're talking with the TAC about all that. We're basically focusing on the appendix that's evaluating the strategies. Everything else the feds liked about our latest CMP, so we don't plan on changing much about it. We'll see this either late this year or early next year. And then we'll have another discussion about CMP more in general. Yearly report. And at some point next year, we'll have an update to those. That's that. This is just information. Are there questions?
Do we know what the different corridors are that we are
We do.
not in here?
Not in here. So there, most of them are the obvious ones. I-5, 22 East, 22 West, Commercial South, Commercial North. Well, actually, I'm getting rid of Commercial North, Broadway to River Road. Parkway, Portland Road.
Lancaster?
Lancaster, thank you. Kubla Cordon, State Center. Wallace. Wallace,
Silverton Market.
no and no. No, I used colors.
Okay, so
I lost count. So, but
Okay,
there are some, so as Mike mentioned, or, you know, part of the reason these corridors exist is we needed someplace in 2005 until 2012 for somebody to turn around safely and drive the corridors. And so that's why some corridors aren't collected. And some of them are too short that time to get any meaningful data. So that's part of the reason. Silverton is no good place for someone to turn around on Silverton.
and when we have, for example, the closure of the Center Street Bridge and that kind of like jumbles things up, how do we know that we're measuring the right corridors? Are we just like, whoa, look at that one, it freed right up? But
Well, if the bridge closes, that will,
when
uh,
the bridge closes?
when the bridge closes, it will, you know, be apparent. Over a year, it tends to be a blip.
Okay.
So there was I remember looking at a big crash that happened on I-5 5 years ago, 4 years ago. I don't remember. There was a big crash. It was long delay, and it's like, okay, it made a very big spike in that week or that day, but over a year, nothing. And you can also see that with the snow events and ice events that we have. It does something, if you only look at January, you'll see it. But once you look at a year, everything else has come through and it just averages out.
Okay.
Yep.
Other questions? Thank you very much for the index as well. Very helpful.
I will say though that they're not in the acronym list.
They are?
EPI and TTI.
It never ends.
It's a living document.
Peanut
Julie.
gallery is down there.
We certainly can, I think, and I'm not sure who is.
Mayor.
You are, all right. Agenda item E, our consultation process document.
Okay, in your, it is the consultation process. So I'm going to provide you a brief overview of all the different types of outreach that we undertake at SKATS. A little bit of consultation 101, get into the consultation process document and the next steps. So we have 3 documents that address outreach and interactions that take place during SKATS development of plans and whatnot. So our first one is our MPO DOT transit agreement. This is basically just between the three of us, it's spelling out the roles and responsibilities for ensuring that the federal transportation planning is performed in the metropolitan area. You see this attached to your UPWP each year, and it was last updated in 2019. Sure, it's been recently. The second one is the public participation plan. Kim talked about this last month. It's the process of how to get input from the public during the long range plan, the TIP, and the PPP. That's public participation plan development. And so we have times when we go out, we specify in that plan how we're going to, options that we can use for reaching the public and how to use their input. The third document, this one, consultation process, is focused on the public sector primarily the public sector entities that are spelled out in federal regulations that we need to consult for one factor or another of the long-range plan or the TIP. So the feds have in their planning rules, where we shall develop a documented process showing the role, responsibilities, and key decision points when other government agencies defined in B, C, and D. So paragraphs B, C, and D are general governments, tribal governments, and then specific resource agencies called out for cultural, historic, or environmental review that are covered in this. Our last consultation document was adopted in 2021 to direct a corrective action. The 2024 certification review had no corrective action, just a recommendation that make sure you use the document and update it to include all relevant federal land management agencies and contacts that are with us today. Between last time and this time, they've changed the definition of federal land management agencies. Federal agencies that actually have an office in the area as opposed to land or resource, which it used to be. Basically, DOD and BLM have now been added as opposed to just talking to Fish and Wildlife and all the other resource agencies that we used to talk to. And still
Name them. Yeah. No.
But that's it. It's coming. Can I use acronyms or do I use words? So the document that you have is draft and basically covers what I just covered on the outreach types that we do. And then it has the key decision points and types of consultation that we undertake for the TIP and the long range plan. And it has an appendix of the contacts with the agencies specified. So where Commissioner Cameron and I will be reading appendix E. I think it's the one. No, it's backwards and plus. I'll be reading that later. Types of consultation. We have 5 types specified by the feds that we have to do. There's general government talking to like City of Salem or airport or transportation issues. There's talking to the tribes, which have a specific way of contact because they're a sovereign nation. So there's the contact is not from the MPO. We have a letter signed from the executive director that goes to the tribal leaders to talk about, begin the process, and then we talk with the staff that are identified. There's the cultural, historic, and environmental consultation. This is specified in federal regs. These are the resource agencies, whether they're local, state, or federal, that we talk to about the potential impacts, primarily for the long-range plan, potential impacts to these resources of the proposed projects. If you look in your long-range plan, this is all covered in Chapter 8. Environmental mitigation is also specified in the federal regs, and it is also covered in Chapter 8. Air quality conformity is performed for the long-range plan and the TIP, and there's a set of air quality agencies or agencies interested in air quality as specified by the Clean Air Act that we need to talk to through 2029, and we will be in attainment. As requested, here's the contact list of the agencies that are contacted. We reached out to all of them this summer to ensure that we have the right agency or the right person at the agencies and when they want to be contacted for the development of the TIP and the MTP based on the key contact points. For long range plan, there's 7 of them. Most of the agencies are only interested in the review of potential impacts of the draft cultural, historic, or natural resources or the environmental mitigation. For the air quality, reading about the air quality. So everyone gets spammed at a certain point, some of them respond, and in our matrix of roles and responsibility, we want them to respond at certain times. There's also a set of decision points for the tip, a little bit less than the long range plan because there are no federal regulations on the environmental mitigation or whatever. That's already been taken care of during the development of the project, so those should already be discussed. Finally, let's see, we can send this document to all the current contacts for review, make sure that they're the right people. Surprisingly, some people have changed since last year. Kim continues to talk to the tribes about ensuring that we have the right people. The TAC reviewed this at their September meeting. And then in the November meeting, along with, this will be brought to board for adoption based on any further changes to the document. So that's that. The request is review the document. If you see some errors, point them out, send them to myself or Kim, or both. And happy to take questions.
I've always been more interested in gravel and asphalt reinforced concrete. But how much does this all cost?
How much?
Because those people gotta be paid for the positions.
They do, but their positions are to review documents or review environmental stuff. And so a lot of, truthfully, we get very few comments from the resource agencies.
Good.
And we limit what we ask of them. So it's like when we develop our plan, we have our proposed project list. We do the work. We say, here's the projects, here's the projects in relation to environment, the streams, the well, I can't do we can't go historical because of state historic protection office. They have confidentially. But for the cultural and environmental, we do a lot of work and we ask them basically confirm that we've done that or point out new data sources because wetlands change each time where they are and some other stuff change. So part of this is ensuring that this consultation is, do we have the correct data to perform this analysis? Have our steps for this analysis done correctly? Red flag anything, because we're still looking at the 20-year horizon. And so a lot of this is 30,000 foot look down as opposed to we're going to build a project. That's where they're more involved in specifics.
And just to be clear, I'm all for clean air and clean water and fish and little micro critters and all that. I don't want to rape and cultural preservation. I love all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I just, and there's no answer to this question, but how far do we go? I mean, there's people out there that want to go way farther than this, I'm sure. And I don't know, where does it end? There's no answer to that question. I appreciate you. I tell people all the time, I get to read and hear stuff that no normal person would ever read or hear, and it's overwhelming.
Yeah. Well, we're just following current regulations, so
Yeah.
regulations get changed over time.
Yeah.
See that.
So I'm just glad we have you guys to wade through it
So-
all.
Madam Chair.
Yeah.
So Ray, are you asking us to look at Appendix A?
No.
That's who's given feedback, right?
No, I'm just more. What's your, well. I think that more I'm asking you, the entire document, don't focus first. Unless there's a staff member. And we've already reached out to a lot of this, has already reached out to confirm people.
So,
You can, just peruse this at your leisure and.
okay, while I'm sleeping. So,
Yeah.
so on Appendix A, so I understand it though. You look at that, like, just use an example, Oregon Division of State Land category for land use.
Yes.
Kickoff, yes, what's that mean?
So we started the process for long range plan. we're announcing that we're doing it. We're sending DSL and state grants an email saying that we're going to start this, and they should expect an email from us 8 months in advance or
Okay.
in the future.
So draft list, no.
Draft list is the project list, draft project list of the entire things.
Okay.
They're interested in CHE, so cultural, historic, and environmental impacts.
Okay.
And they're interested in the environmental impacts, and they're not interested in the draft document.
Good.
So sorry for the little bit of,
No, that's,
this isn't really meant for public consumption. This is, we've written it, well, I wrote it and Kim updated to meet the thing. So each year we send out an email on that. Before we plan update, we, are you the right person? When do you want to be contacted? 2 to 5 times? Yeah, five points of contact.
got it.
Got it. And we explained to them a little bit more with, here's what you said last time, so we're assuming it's these two.
Thank you.
And this is for each MPO is supporting a process like this specific to their
Yep.
MPO region. Okay.
Yes.
I'm match of table 2. Where, so disclosure for folks in this room that might not know, I work for DLCD, which is the Department of Land Conservation and Development. And I see here that we are named state conservation and state land use management, but then when I look at the tables further down about the context, does that just mean we didn't get back to you, or like appendix A?
Yeah.
Okay,
Some of it can be that no one has returned. I believe this is just the ones that people have returned, or they have returned in the past. They haven't. Yeah. Once you're on our list, you're always on our list until you tell us that you're no longer the person. And if we never received a contact, so we're just using Melissa Aarons as the DLCD
okay.
general point of contact, so she can read it out to whoever might be the pro. Sometimes, that's, we try to use Julie as a center point of contact for Salem stuff, as opposed to specifying everyone in detail.
Meredith, well, no, you do have some.
And you have some people, the airport is, special, and so it used to have your, natural resource.
No, you
person.
do. She's there, Meredith.
Oh, okay.
But I was asked who the person was, so,
Right.
yeah.
So if I may,
Yeah.
if you make a plan, you plan in advance with all these interests in mind before you even talk to them, or it's the other way around. You say, we want to do this, what are your input? How do you?
Well, so this is mainly for the long range plans. This is the long range plan, as you will experience over the next year now. We start with what is done locally. We start with the TSPs and what we've done previously, and then we need to consult with these groups as, to get input in case we miss something, or, just inform them that this process is going on. Mostly it is inform them that the process is going on, not a lot of feedback we receive, project specific or even plan general. So.
They're usually pretty high level reviews when we do get feedback.
Yeah. Very.
And it's not so much asking them for what projects they want to see done. It's more like, here are the project lists or draft project lists.
Right.
Without comment on these.
When
It will impact on.
Has the salmon, the streams that are supportive of salmon, have they changed since last time? Please let us know so we can identify.
Right.
When somebody goes to make a bridge, they should be aware of this. So a lot of this is bringing forward the information that this, don't build something over Pioneer Cemetery because it's a cultural resource. You might want to go around. Some obvious things like that. There's also changes in fish and wildlife
Actually, our transportation infrastructure's been improving salmon habitat over the years. Getting, clearing obstructions and all kinds of things.
New culverts.
Yeah, right, exactly. On private land too. Might be great.
Any other questions? Right? Okay, well, thank you for the informative. A lot of acronyms in that one too.
Probably on the appendix system. No?
Okay. That brings us to agenda item F, which is the summary of Metropolitan Transportation Improvement Plan modifications.
Yeah, so I'll just talk for a minute about this. There's an attachment with agenda item F, and I can't share screen because I didn't bring my computer with me today. But this is just a listing of tip amendments since the last time we met in August, and there's more than usual because we're about a week away from the end of the federal fiscal year. So a lot of these are just slipping project phases that did not end up obligating federal fiscal year 2025. So in those cases, we've just pushed them back to obligating 2026. So that's why the list is, usually we have 3, 4, maybe a few more amendments each month, but a lot of this is just administrative cleanup so that we have project phases in the right correct year. So mostly they're administrative amendments. There's 3 in there that were full amendments that the policy committee reviewed at the August meeting. And those were an ODOT transit project where the funding amount was reduced to match an FTA grant. There was an additional ADA curb ramp project for design work that ODOT added as well. And then last month was the review where for the Verta Lane project, we moved some of the funding from construction to another phase, which is being used for tree work right now. And then we also use construction funding to increase the preliminary engineering amount. But those are kind of the most notable ones. I think everything else is just a slipping of a project phase. For different phases that didn't get done by the federal fiscal year for various reasons. For sure.
Any questions on the MTIP modifications? The big lift. Big there. All right, well, thank you for that. Can't believe it's 12:34.
Oh,
I know.
Be a hero.
I have more time to drink beer.
Yeah.
Well, with that in mind,
Sure, I do have one thing at least to bring up on other information.
yeah, please do.
Oh, and there's a comment?
From
Next OTC meeting.
Can't hear.
Next OTC meeting is on September 30th. It was originally on the 11th, but it was pushed back to is that next Tuesday?
Yeah, that's next Tuesday.
Yeah.
I think they're having a working session on the 29th to talk about the capital investment plan. But I can't confirm that. There's nothing on the website, but I just wanted you all to know. I should have made that comment earlier when we were approving the minutes. Sorry.
The thing I was going to bring up was the OMPOC meeting, October 24th, which is just a month from now. And who would like to attend? It's a virtual meeting. I don't have the agenda topics yet, but usually Lyle will try to make it. But
Yeah, I have a conflict, so I won't be able to attend.
anyone else interested in potentially attending?
How long does it last?
That's check is that a Friday?
Yeah.
It's usually Friday. They usually start around 9:30, and it can be a kind of a long meeting, like going to about 1:30. So,
Just send me the link, I might do it.
okay.
I've never sat in on one.
You'll have a lot of items about ODOT particularly, so.
Oh, can you send me that then too?
Well, with the conversations I have with constituents, that'd probably be some interesting information.
Madam Chair, I do have a question for Anna. And one of the emails I get is, from ODOT, and Vertical Lane was just, I think it was yesterday or day before. How, is that because of Salem Parkway? How is ODOT involved in the Keizer project there?
Yeah, Keizer, the city of Keizer received federal funds for that project, and they're not a certified local agency. So we're delivering that project for them.
Okay.
We have our choice of ODOT
ODOT and a
project.
Well, no, that's not true. That's not true because the city of Salem's delivering another project, another certified agency to
We're
deliver on
Marion
behalf of. And so like, city of Salem's delivering the river, I think it's the River Road project for Keizer. Oh, don't hold me to that. I can't remember the name of the project. So we do that all the time. Where we have, and Marion County is delivering a project for Independence and also for Polk County, a couple bridge projects. So that does happen.
There's only really like maybe like 12 or 15 certified agencies in Oregon. So a lot of smaller cities, have to either use ODOT to, it's a federally funded project, or they're
Yeah.
agency that can do that.
I asked that question last year.
Well, even though the agenda is kind of light, it's still a very busy time for us. Looking at a lot of things. Some of the decisions you made last month about the TIP, we're getting that document ready, updating other work. I'm working with ODOT on the Center Street Bridge. There could be some financial constraint, so that's on our plans. So we're working with that on that. Our Safe Routes to School program kicked off the year, and right now they started at Highland Elementary School. And we'll talk more about that next month. And it's just a very busy time. And add that to the change at the COG with interim director and committees looking at the finances. It's go from the moment I walk through the door. So.
Appreciate it. It's like the storm.
Well, speaking of, next month might be the start of the long plan
For
SKATS. It's 4 years. We need to update it by May 2027. So we might start talking about it in October. Or we might start talking in November.
Yeah.
Decided on.
we can do it on December 24th.
We can do it on. That's another question is, do you want a December meeting?
What would it be scheduled for?
Yeah, whatever the fourth Tuesday is.
Yeah,
It's before Christmas, but I don't, 22nd is first.
23rd, because Thursday
The
is.
third Thursday?
23rd.
Third Thursday is
Fourth
Tuesday.
Fourth Tuesday.
the fourth Tuesday.
I wouldn't be able to make it.
So we normally either cancel the December meeting or move it ahead if we really have something on the agenda that has to be done by the policy committee. But
Well, why don't we wait?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think so.
got a couple of months. Just in case.
And we as staff have to start working on our next year planning board program. It seems like we just adopt one and then
Yeah.
4 months later, we have to start working on the next one, so.
Biennial budgets of the state.
Right. Well, still in record time. I believe we can adjourn this meeting. It is 12:50 PM. We are adjourned.
Thank you.
For Chair.